Something about moderation. Are we live? I believe we are. Hello, welcome to the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. It's Tuesday and it's 1 o'clock UK time, which means it's my time to do a little live. I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds because there is a lag for YouTube to kick in. So I don't want to start talking straight away, because sometimes it chops the first part of the video off. So, hope everyone's okay on this Tuesday. It's a bit wet and miserable in the UK here, if I'm honest. It's just actually started raining, which is absolutely lovely. And it's very cold. It's very cold. Probably because I've had the door open. That doesn't help. Morning, Sue. Hello, welcome. So I've got this piece on something else. I'm balancing it very precariously because I don't want to sit on the floor because the floor is cold. I've got a tiled floor in my workshop, and I really don't want to sit on the floor, if I'm honest. It's too cold for me to sit on the floor. Now, obviously I am live on my mobile device, and I've also got a laptop down here because waving. What's the weather like over there in Ohio? Yeah, I've got a laptop here because the number one question people ask me when I'm live on YouTube is, what are you using? Where can we find it? And where else can we follow you? And I can't write here. Maybe I can. I've not found out how to do it yet. I've not found out how I can write comments if I'm live. You might not be able to. Sunny in Bedfordshire. What? It's raining here. How very dare you? How very dare you? That's not on. We've had sun. We have had sun. It was beautiful actually this morning. And then, well, it's the UK, isn't it? Rain happened. Also, I'm looking slightly more like a mole today than usual because every time I wear mascara, my eyes go weird, very red and painful. So I'm not wearing mascara, so I look like a little squinty mole. So I've got a laptop here, right? And what I'm going to try and do, it's not going to work, is it? What I'm going to try and do is link the product that I'm going to be using. And that way, if I comment as me, you'll also be able to see, will you? I don't know. Let's just try it. Me and technology, we don't go together too well. Sunny here in South California, but rain coming soon. Yeah, I would imagine that it is slightly warmer in Southern California than it is right now in the UK. It's so grey and miserable. I'm over winter. Let me tell you, I am over it. Anyway, this is the piece that I'm going to be working on this week at the minute. I've actually got a couple of pieces in the workshop. This one I'm prepping for something that will be shown to you in the future. As you know, I'm a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint, and quite often we have to work in advance to promote things that are up and coming. Shh, you didn't hear it from me, okay? So this is a piece that I'm going to be prepping for something in the future. Okay, it's a bookcase. It's got a little shelf that's fixed. These little pieces you can pick up really easily in the UK. It's a repro piece before anybody comes at me for painting the wood, for painting an antique. It's not. It's a repro piece. They are always in charity shops, these little pieces. I've sold a lot of them. I've done them in various different colours, various different finishes. They lend themselves really well to pretty much anything because they are quite plain. Sometimes they've got two little drawers at the top. Sometimes they've got one big one. Sometimes the shelf is fixed. Sometimes it isn't. This one's fixed. This one's leaning very precariously. So I'm going to talk about prep today because that's where I'm at in the workshop currently. So the first thing you need to do when you start out, anything that you're going to paint, you have to clean. You have to clean. This is the product that I use. It's Dixie Belle's White Lightning Cleaner. It's a TSB cleaner, and it's a deglossing and degreasing cleaner. Very important, because anything that is secondhand, vintage, antique, pre-loved, it doesn't even have to be old. If it's had a previous life, even if that means it's been something that's in your home and you'd put money on it being clean, it probably isn't, because even things like oils from your hands go onto the surface of your piece. Whoa, nearly took a tumble then. Go onto the surface of your piece and can cause problems with the paint sticking on the surface. That's not what you want at all. Usually a clean is suffice and you can go straight ahead and paint. However, there are some circumstances where you need an extra product to help your paint grip onto the surface, and this is one of those instances. You don't have to use this product all the time, but when you do need to use it, it is a lifesaver, because like I say, if you give you a close-up of this, it's a super shiny finish, and these repro items are usually like a very high shine, glossy varnish kind of finish. So in this instance, you've got two choices. You could scuff sand, or you could prime with a magic primer. I say magic because it really is good. So you've cleaned, you've rinsed it off. That's very important also. Rinse the cleaner off. It's clean, it's dry, it's free of any oils or anything like that that is going to be on the surface. And then, like I say, you've got a choice whether you want to sand or whether you want to prime for adhesion. So I get asked this question all the time. Dixie Belle sell a problem-solving primer. So historically, they used to do two. There used to be one called Slick Stick and there used to be one called Boss. What they did is they had such a demand for a product to do both of those jobs. So one used to block stains and one used to be for slippery, shiny surfaces. And that just doesn't have to be like a shiny varnish like this. It could be glass, plastic, metal, laminate. It opens the door for you to paint lots and lots of different things. So I'm thinking like metal pieces of furniture. I've done that in the past. IKEA pieces of furniture, mid-century laminate pieces. If you wanted to paint glass for any particular reason, if you had a glass panel on a piece of furniture, you could paint it. You can prime with this, and that allows your paint to grip on. So this is a gripping primer and a stain blocking primer in one. Historically, Dixie Belle always used to sell two different primers to solve two different problems, but they just basically made one absolutely amazing badass primer in one, and they do it in three colours. So this is the grey. This is my go-to colour because it sits really well underneath pretty much any colour. As you know, if you follow me, I do a lot of bold, vibrant colours, but if you are doing neutrals, if you didn't know which colour to go for, if you weren't sure, they do a clear, a white and a grey. If you're not sure which one to go for, I'd advise the grey, just because it is quite a good general purpose colour that sits well under most colours. So if you're doing vibrant, great. If you're doing darks, great. If you're doing neutrals, excellent as well. If you consistently do white, then maybe you want to consider the white primer. The clear is very good if you want to maybe give it like a distress finish on your piece and you want to see the original finish or the wood peeking through. You could use the clear primer. That way when you distress your paint, you're not seeing a coloured primer underneath. So that's one use for the clear. It's a very good product to have, but if you are wanting to use this primer and not sure which colour to go for, I'd recommend grey, because it is a very good colour to sit underneath white painters. No, nothing against white painters. In fact, I've got a lot of respect for people that paint in white, because it takes some patience and perseverance. So what I'm now going to try, it's not going to work, is it? What I'm going to try and do is find my live. I'm bringing you down with me. Find my live on the Dixie Belle Paint Company YouTube channel, which I am on now on my phone, on my device. Then, Can I comment? It's showing me that I'm not live. Well, I am actually, because I'm doing it right now. Live chat. Join the conversation. Open panel. It's not going to let me, is it? What I wanted to do, because as well, after this happens, because obviously there's a lot of there's a big time difference between me and the UK and a lot of people that rewatch this afterwards, because obviously you can go back and rewatch all the lives. What I've noticed is I'll get a few hundred people watching it while I'm live, and then after I've gone live in the next sort of 24 hours, there'll be a lot more people that watch it. So it's not letting me do it. 7 a.m. in Texas. Yeah, it's I know it's really early. It's not doing it. So annoying. Why? So what I was trying to do, I've got my laptop here. This is just a testament to how rubbish I am with technology. What I was going to try and do is comment the link of the product, the primer that I'm going to use, because what happens is the views that come after this live ask loads of questions like, what are you using? Where can I find it? It shows up on the YouTube kind of shorts feed. So it's quite difficult for me to go back and answer all the questions sometimes, especially because people can just go back and watch this video anytime. So I thought if there was a product there that was linked, that might help people, but it would appear that it's not going to let me do that for some stupid reason. So where does this show up when I go live? Do you have to... I don't know. It's not going to work, is it? Well, hang on. No, that's showing last week's live. That's not what I want. I don't know. I don't know where it is. Thank you for bearing with me during these technical difficulties, but I don't know where it is. And I was gonna link it, but no, it's not gonna let me. I don't know. Anyway, that's annoying. I will link it after I've done the live. It's not helpful to you viewing now, but it might be helpful to somebody watching on the replay afterwards. This is the product that I was trying to link. So this is Dixie Belle's Bonding Boss. This is the primer that is going to solve all your problems. Literally, it's a problem-solving primer. So if you've got a shiny surface like this one and you don't want to sand, or you can't sand for some reason, I've got an electric sander set up. I could probably sand this quite easily, although it is a very shiny, kind of tough varnish on these repro items. You can usually sand that back until you get a little bit of kind of that finish is starting to go a little bit dull, and that's what you're looking for. You don't need to sand back to the raw wood to paint furniture. Absolutely not. That's a myth that we need to get rid of once and for all. However, what I do know is there's quite a lot of people that work from their homes, on their kitchen table, or they can't sand for health reasons, or they don't have a sander that's suitable for indoors with an extraction unit like mine. There's loads and loads of reasons why people would not want to tackle sanding this. And if I'm brutally honest, I don't want to tackle sanding that if I can help it. I would much rather use a couple of coats of this and then I can paint it. No need to sand whatsoever. So all I've done to this is cleaned it with Dixie Belle's White Lightning, rinsed it off, let it dry. That's it. You don't even need to scuff sand with this primer. You can go straight in over a shiny surface, providing you've cleaned, and you are good to go. Now, what I will say is if you run your hand over the surface of your piece and you can feel any kind of little bits or in the finish or anything like that, or if the varnish is flaky or damaged or chipped in anywhere, then I would say sand that smooth. If your finish is completely unbroken and it's in good condition, you don't need to scuff sand. If you do need to scuff sand, a 220 grit sandpaper is fine. So these are Dixie Belle sanding sponges. I just buy them in multi-packs because I get through them. It's a sanding sponge. It's a 220 grit. That's it. I can't say anything else about it. And then all you do is go over it really lightly, like this, until you can no longer feel those kind of bits, or if there's any bits of varnish that are, like I say, flaky, chipped. Morning, hello. People are starting to jump on. I'm trying to find out how I can link this primer, but she's not playing. She's not playing ball for some reason. I don't know how you do it. I don't know where the lives pop up on. It says, all I can see is upcoming lives. That's not what I want. I want the one that I'm live on right now. But that's rubbish. I've gone to the Dixie Belle YouTube channel, right? I have clicked on the Dixie Belle Paint Company YouTube channel. You would think that that would be up there. I also hate to sand. There's two reasons that I hate to sand, even though I have got a very good sander. So I've got a sander. I've also got a video on my sander on my own YouTube channel. The reason I don't like sanding is because I've got carpal tunnel, thanks to having 2 children. Cheers, kids, all the best. So I've got carpal tunnel, and if I sand for a prolonged amount of time, it can kind of flare it up a little bit. The other reason is I've got weird gammy eyes, really weird gammy eyes. Long story short, I've got quite a rare eyeball condition, and what I've noticed is if I get a lot of stuff in my eye, like if I sand certain finishes, my eyes just go pink, red, really sore. It's basically like someone's punched me in both eyeballs, and it's definitely to do with the finish on furniture. Now, the other thing I hear people say all the time when I bring that up is wear safety goggles, and you're right, you're absolutely right, I should. However, these gammy eye, yeah, gammy just means not great. I think it's a bit of a slang word in the UK. These mean that I can see. Without these, I'm pretty much sanding blind. I could be like sanding the kids, the dogs, radiator, up the walls. It's helpful to see when you are doing those things. And I yet haven't found, if anyone finds any or has got any, like goggles, safety goggles that fit over glasses. I mean, these are child's glasses because I have got a small face, but I've got a bit that sticks out here, and all the safety goggles that I can find don't fit over. I can't wear them at the same time. It's a predicament. Anyway, so long story short, and I can't find out how you do that. That's annoyed me, that has. That's really annoyed me. Oh, God, I wish I was better with technology. Anyway, so this is the solution. If you don't want to sand or you can't sand, you've got a very shiny, slippery surface. This is what you need. So this is what I'm using it for in this instance, but the other time that you would use this, like I said, it's an all-in-one primer, so it does more than one job. So not only does this provide adhesion to slippery, shiny surfaces like this, what it will also do is block stains. So if you have got a piece of furniture that has a warm tone to the wood, like this one, what you may encounter is the tannins in the wood leaching through into the paint. If you've ever painted something and it's turned a funny colour, sometimes when you're top coating, it happens. Sometimes when you're just putting paint on, it happens, and it could turn pink or yellowy or orangey. Or if you've got nicotine stains or nicotine soaked piece, you might have encountered this also. So that primer will lock those stains in and stop them leaching through into your paint. The other thing it does, told you it was a multitasking primer, the other thing it does is stops odours. So we all know vintage furniture can smell a little bit rank at times, a little bit musty and a little bit fusty. So if you have a smelly piece, you can prime with this. Don't forget there's a clear one as well. So if the insides of your cupboards or your drawers smell a bit fusty, you can use the clear primer. That way you're not having to paint the insides, you are just literally locking the odour in. My eye doctor office makes me prescription safety glasses with side guards. interesting. I need not safety glasses that I need the full-on goggles that stop dust and stuff going into your eye. Like, it needs to seal all the way around here, but it can't because of my glasses. Haven't found any. Spent a lot of money on stuff, ones that claim to be wider, glasses friendly. No, they do not work. So this primer, honestly, it's the easiest thing you will ever use. It's water-based. Unlike a lot of other stain blocking and adhesion primers on the market, it's water-based and it doesn't smell. It doesn't have any horrible chemical smell to it, which is another reason that this is the one that I use all the time, because I've also got an intolerance to scents. This is obviously a life of painting. It's not a health. It's not like Connie's health page where I tell you about all my intolerances with health. But seriously, I'm a bit funny with smells and they give me a bit of a headache. So I have to be careful what products I use. And I've used other brands in the past that stink and they give me a headache. So it might have helped if I'd have got a brush, but I've got one now. It was over there. So I use these to apply pretty much everything. I use Dixie Belle brushes, but this rolls on really well as well. And I believe it sprays on also, but I don't use a paint sprayer. But it's not a thick, horrible consistency. It doesn't dry down too quickly before you've had a chance to lay it off. There we go. There we go. Very thin. And as you can see, it's not gloopy, it's not thick, it's not hard to use at all. And all I'm going to do, because I don't like staying on too long and taking up too much of your time, I'm just going to show you how easy it is to paint on with a brush. Like I say, you can use a roller. I don't usually use rollers. Sometimes I do, depends on the piece. If I had a massive sideboard with a huge flat surface, then possibly, but I just prefer a paintbrush. There's nothing like putting paint on with a brush. Don't know what it is. So you can see how well it's covering, but coverage isn't really the aim of this game. You just want to make sure it's nice and smooth. Work in small areas as usual. I'd always say that, no matter what you're doing, whether you're top coating, painting, get a side done and then move around. So this is a synthetic brush. This is called the Mini. There's lots of different synthetic brushes in the Dixie Belle range. Some of them are round, oval. This is a Mini because it's got a mini handle. I use probably this size the most. And once you've got your primer on your surface, just run your paintbrush, hold it sort of at the end, so you've got like less pressure on. I tend to be really heavy-handed with paintbrushes, so if you hold it here, you're gonna kind of force more pressure onto the surface, whereas if you hold it here, you've got a much lighter touch. So once you've covered your surface like this, obviously I know I've got the little feet to do, but once you've covered your surface, you just run that over the surface like so. That's just going to make sure there's no kind of thicker bits of paint. It's going to just promote it to lie flat. It is self-leveling, so it does go on super smooth, but that is all you need to do. So that's one coat of the Bond Emboss on. After you've done your first coat all over, let it dry for a couple of hours, and once it's completely dry, you need to do a second coat. So I would always advise doing at least 2 coats of Bond Emboss. If you're using it for adhesion, I always use 2. If you're using it for stain blocking purposes, that really goes on, that depends on how bad of a bleeder your paint is. Your wood is, sorry, not your paint. So if on the second coat you are still seeing bleed through coming through, second coat of your primer, just apply a third. And the key to this product is your drying time. So this must dry for 24 hours before you can apply paint. So if I have finished this at 5 o'clock tonight, 2 coats, it will be ready to paint at 5 o'clock tomorrow night. 24 hours is the key, because it's a water-based product. It needs drying time to do its thing, whether that be adhere to the surface or block the stains. It has to dry down properly, because what happens is if you put your paint on top of this too soon, you could reactivate the primer, which is then obviously means it's not going to do its job. It's not dried down sufficiently to block the stains or adhere to your surface. So 24 hours. Don't be tempted to do it sooner. Let me see. How do you clean the brushes? I always use chip brushes I could throw away. See, the problem with chip brushes is they do not give you a smooth finish. I know a lot of people use chip brushes for primers. I don't, because I want this to have a smooth finish. So I'm going to run to my kitchen and I'll be right back. It's a good job I don't live in a mansion, because that would have been a lot further. Luckily, my house is tiny and my kitchen is right here. So, I talked about this last week, I think. Did I? I don't know. This is scrubby soap. This saves my brushes. I use the same brushes for priming, painting, top coating. The trick is to make sure they're fully cleaned in between uses. And this breaks down any product that's on the bristles. So it comes in loads of different flavours. It's flavours. It's basically a bar of soap with a scrubby infused into it. It smells absolutely amazing. It does actually smell good enough to eat. So I scrub my brushes with this after I've used them. I immediately wash anything that I've used the primer on, because don't forget, this primer is designed to stick. It's designed to stick anywhere. Shiny surfaces, glass, metal, plastic, laminate, it's going to stick. So you want to wash your brushes straight away, even if you're doing a second coat. Sometimes when I'm doing a second coat of something, I will put the brush in a bag and lock it, seal it tight so there's no air can get in. And then if I know I'm doing a second or third coat of a particular colour, I will use the same brush. I don't do that with primers. I don't do that with Bond Emboss. I wash my brushes straight away. So that is what saves my brushes. And I've been with Dixie Belle now 5 years. I've still got some of the original brushes that they sent me when I first came on board as brand ambassador. So this is just pretty good, and it's very inexpensive as well. And also you can use it around your home. So I use it to clean my sink. I use it to clean pots and pans. I use it to clean the dogs. I use it everywhere. I use it to clean my hands as well. I'm a very messy painter, so I use it to do that. And that is pretty much how you prep a piece of furniture that's very shiny and slippery. If there's something I want to refinish but want to keep the original decals on it, would I just refinish while avoiding the decaled area? So it depends on the piece. Yes, essentially, without seeing it, it's hard to advise. So if you've got any original features on the piece that you want to paint and you want to do part paint, part like original finish, you can either tape it off, or if it's on the drawers, take the drawers out. I just did a piece on my own YouTube channel where I did some paint and some stain. I actually stripped the stain areas off, much to the internet's disgust. On Facebook, it did not please a lot of people, but you know, that's part and parcel of being on the internet, I suppose. But yes, you would just tape the pieces off that you didn't want to paint, and just paint the rest, and leave the other parts of it that you wanted to keep original or whatever. And that's about it. I'm not going to do the whole piece with you. I'm not, because that'd be very boring for you and me. I'm running out of things to talk about, if I'm honest. But that's a little piece. That's how easy it is. So couple of hours, depending on your humidity and your temperature where you're painting, recoat it, leave it 24 hours and you can paint. No sanding needs to be involved in the prep of your piece. So if for some reason you can't or won't sand, use Bond Emboss. I use it a lot. I've stopped using my sander as much because it is such a brilliant product. And people say you're not doing it properly unless you sand the finish off. That's an absolute lie. I've got pieces in my home that I have used Bond Emboss on and painted, and we're very heavy-handed with furniture in this house. I've got 3 dogs, 2 kids. Stuff gets moved around all the time, and the finish is as good as the day that I did it. So you're not cutting corners, or you're not doing the job properly if you are using a product like Bond Emboss. It's just that it's doing it a slightly different way to people that claim they have to sand the finish off and do it that way. It is just there as a problem solver if you need it. It's a really good primer to have in your kit. Thank you, Jeannie. Have a good day at work. So I will leave you to it at spin, me rambling on for 30 minutes. Sorry, I can't link the thing. There is a little shopping bag down here. What happens if I press that? Pin to live stream. Don't know what that is. I'm scared to press anymore. No, I don't know. I'll have to fiddle around with it for next time. But what I'll do now is I will go in as Faff Designs. I will link Bond Emboss here for anybody watching the replay. And also that way you can find me. If you click on my profile where it says commented as Faff Designs, you can then find me, and then you can go and follow me on my own YouTube channel. If you wanted to, that's completely optional. If you wanted to follow a little mole person that sits on the floor painting furniture all day, that is entirely up to you. But I will leave you to it. I'll have a good day, and they have prescription seal goggles online. Now, not to bore you here, but I can't get prescriptions online because my eyes are, in fact, so gammy, I have to go to a special eye place. That'd be an optician, but I can't get prescriptions online. I can't. Yes, unfortunately. I'd love to be one of those people that have those really cool glasses, all different colours, and they're like, oh yeah, you paid like £10 for these frames and blah blah blah. No, I can't. Unfortunately, I have one pair of glasses that cost me a considerable amount of money, and these are going to have to last forever. So yeah, I can't, unfortunately. It's such a pain in the backside, but I can't. So yes, if you I've seen somebody about recoating. Can you answer a gator hide question about recoating? I did a table 6 months ago that has now damage. Gary, do you use a roller or a brush over Bond Emboss? So you can use a roller or a brush with Bond Emboss, and you can use a roller or a brush to apply your paint. It depends on your preference. I prefer a brush. That's just my personal preference. But if you can roller this stuff, it rolls beautifully, and the paint will roll beautifully over it. The other thing is, as well, paint sits really nicely over this primer. If you have ever used this primer and then put paint over it, particularly silk mineral paint, oh, it goes on like a charm. The last video that I did on my own YouTube channel, I got a really good finish on silk, and people said, how do you get that finish with a brush? The secret is a primer underneath. It acts like a primer, so it smooths the finish out. It gets a really nice finish. I'm waiting for the comments. Sherry's asked if you I'm going to have to go, but if you have a question that I have not answered, just hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. That's probably the best thing to do, because I won't see if you message your channel, leave any more comments, I might not see it. So hit me up on my YouTube channel or Facebook or Instagram. That's probably the best thing, and I'll try and help you out. But that's it for today. I will see you, hopefully, all being well, next week with something else. Have a great day, and I will see you later. I always forget how to press out of this live. Here we go. See you later.